Bart Simpson didn't just skateboard through childhood. He torched it with a flamethrower of nonsense, lit by Homer's spilled beer. This is the kid who turned a grapefruit into a felony, made rehab look like a Krusty Burger Tuesday, and somehow convinced a judge that emancipation just means I live in a loft with rats and zero chaperones. And folks, these aren't pranks, they're crimes against adulthood. Imagine a school bus plunging into the ocean because Bart thought fruit physics were a better idea than, not weaponizing snacks. A family vacation that stranded the Simpsons in Antarctica because Bart's fear of algebra outweighed his fear of penguin overlords. And let's not forget the time he turned Mrs. Krabappel into a muffin mogul, only to blurt, "I'm off the hook!" like Springfield's answer to Tony Soprano. This isn't a trip down memory lane, it's a demolition derby through Bart's brain, where every neuron screaming, "Eat my shorts!" And the only life lesson is blame Milhouse. We've got Homer's tearful Viagra jingles, Marge's "I choked a future voter" guilt spirals, and Lisa's facepalm so hard it could power Shelbyville for a week. So grab a lard lad donut and a trauma blanket, because we're dissecting the chaos of a 10-year-old who turned childish into an Olympic sport. Spoiler, by the end, you'll thank your parents for never letting you sue them. The island disaster, Bart's fruit-fueled apocalypse. Picture this, Lord of the Flies meets Krusty the Clown and the conch is replaced with a grapefruit. This is the story of how Bart Simpson turned a school field trip into Springfield's least survivable reality show, Survivor Doe, where the only prize is not getting eaten by a boar with better leadership skills. It all started with Otto, the bus driver who thinks responsibility is a type of nacho topping. Bart and Nelson, armed with apples and oranges, turned snack time into a demolition derby. Go apple, go orange, Bart cheered. Because why learn physics when you can weaponize produce? But Milhouse, Springfield's resident chaos gremlin, upped the ante with a grapefruit, the citrus equivalent of a grenade. One rogue roll later, and Otto's brake pedal is now a sticky, pulpy death trap. "I can't see!" he screamed, steering the bus like Homer avoiding a sober thought. Cut to the kids stranded on an island, where Bart's survival plan was live like kings. Spoiler, their kingdom had no food, no shelter, and a monkey butler deficit. Lisa, the only brain cell in a 10-mile radius, declared, "This island is a death hole." Meanwhile, Bart's big brain solution? Steal snacks from the submerged bus, using Milhouse's inhaler as flotation device. Peak leadership. But here's where Bart's genius backfired. The kids turned feral faster than Moe's Tavern on St. Paddy's Day. Milhouse got framed for food theft. Classic. Lisa played judge like a tiny Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And Bart, he ditched responsibility faster than Homer dodges a salad. By the end, even the board looked disappointed. "Slime for dinner?" Lisa groaned. "Enjoy your Michelin star slime, savages," Bart shot back. Because nothing says maturity like blaming your crew for your own dumpster fire decisions. Lesson learned, never let Bart plan a field trip or a fruit salad. Emancipation meltdown, Bart versus adulthood. Spoiler, adulthood won. If you thought Bart's rebellion peaked with spray painting El Barto on a nuclear plant, think again. This is the saga of how a 10-year-old declared war on Homer Simpson by hiring a lawyer. Yes, a lawyer. Because nothing screams, "I'm mature," like suing your dad for allowance money and moving into a loft with a rat named roommate. It all started with a VHS tape titled Bart Sad. which sounds like a rejected Nirvana B-side, but was actually Homer's shameless cash grab, a baby supplement ad. This isn't Bart's it's Bart's ad, Lisa groaned, because even she couldn't spin Homer's greed into a teachable moment. Bart's response? I'm emancipating, a fancy word for I'll live in a warehouse with more mold than Moe's bar rag. Cue Bart's law and order era. He stormed into court with a lawyer who probably also reps Cartoon Network villains. Your Honor, my client demands freedom and a later bedtime. The judge, clearly a CS-PAN enthusiast, granted it. Bart's new life? A loft with a webcam, Homer's idea of parental supervision, a rat roommate, and the crushing realization that electricity bills don't care about your skateboard skills. But here's where Bart's adulting crashed harder than Homer's DIY BBQ pit. He got scared of his own shadow. Literally, the rat had a vendetta, and his big escape ended with the family visiting his crib like it's a zoo exhibit. I'm taking off for 6 months to join a cube tour, Bart declared, which is just fish concerts for kids who think cargo shorts are formal wear. Homer's apology? A Viagra ad so cringy it made Krusty's wacky deli meat look Oscar-worthy. Side effects include loss of scalp and penis, Homer read, somehow missing the point harder than Flanders at a strip club. Lesson learned? Emancipation is just a fancy word for I'll be home by dinner. The forever vacation fiasco, Bart versus responsibility. Spoiler, responsibility lost. If you think Bart's fear of homework peaked with burning a voodoo doll, buckle up. This is the tale of how a family cruise turned into Titanic meets Contagion, starring Bart as the world's least qualified epidemiologist. Spoiler, the only thing more contagious than his lies? Homer's refusal to wear pants on a lifeboat. It all started with a commercial for the most fun week of your life. A cruise promising 1,000,000 activities for kids. A translation, parents get to day drink while Bart terrorizes shuffleboard seniors. But when the vacation ended, Bart panicked. School? Bullies? Algebra? Nope. His solution? Fake a pandemic. Unprecedented threat. Worldwide quarantine. He announced, channeling Dr. Hibbert's worst nightmare. The result? couldn't substitute vodka. Guilt hit Bart harder than a Homer chokehold. His redemption plan? Help Edna open a muffin shop. Why? Because if there's one thing Springfield needs, it's more carbs and existential dread. A Simpson never gives up until he's tried one easy thing. Bart lied, as Edna baked her way through a midlife crisis. But just as success loomed, Bart blurted, "I'm off the hook now." A phrase that haunts Edna's nightmares more than Ned Flanders' turtlenecks. Edna's mic drop? "You're bad on the inside." Brutal? Yes. Accurate? Asked the grapefruit. Bart's Hail Mary? Confessing to Skinner? Who shrugged? Children suck. Classic Springfield justice. Lesson learned? Never mix Bart, booze and baked goods. Voodoo Vendetta, or how Bart tried to hex bullies and summoned Maggie's wrath. Bart Simpson's idea of therapy isn't couch sessions. It's voodoo dolls and petty revenge served with a side of New Orleans jazz. This is the tale of how Bart turned the big easy into the big unhinged, hexing bullies, traumatizing penguins, and accidentally making Maggie Springfield's tiniest mob boss. Spoiler, even the voodoo priestess was like, "Child, sit down." It all started with Jimbo, Kearney, and Dolph subjecting Bart to a cafeteria sing-along so brutal it made Baby Shark sound like Mozart. "Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you," Bart croaked while Lisa face-palmed so hard she invented time travel. His revenge? A voodoo doll shop dripping with more fake blood than a crusty Halloween special. "You'll all pay," Bart hissed, then immediately hit Marge with, "Mom, will you pay for this?" Classic. But Bart's hexes backfired faster than Homer's diet. Instead of Jimbo sprouting clown shoes, Maggie became the doll's prime target. "Burn the feet, Milhouse. Is he crying yet?" Bart demanded, while Maggie silently plotted his demise with a pacifier side eye. Cue Milhouse's panic. Maggie's either gotta kill him or start running. Spoiler, she chose violence. The climax, a bar showdown where Bart faced off against his bullies and lost thanks to a penguin pep talk. Life's about enjoying the few perfect slides. Lisa sighed as Homer nodded like he understood anything beyond slide in beer shoot. Meanwhile, Marge's solution? A bookstore called Dripping Blood Fonts and Trauma. Because nothing says parenting win like enabling arson with credit card rewards. Lesson learned? Never give Bart access to witchcraft or a credit line. Helicopter Homer, or how parenting became a contact sport. If you thought Homer's parenting peaked at "don't touch my stuff or I'll choke you through a window," think again. This is the saga of Homer Simpson morphing into a helicopter parent, a creature more overbearing than a Marge guilt trip and twice as crash prone. Spoiler, Bart learned the hard way that father-son bonding is code for glue fumes and emotional damage. It all started with a school model building contest. Bart's plan, do nothing and blame Milhouse. Homer's plan, turn Westminster Abbey into a balsa wood monument to parental insecurity. "This'll show those PTA snobs," Homer roared, sawing wood like it owed him beer money. Bart, meanwhile, watched in horror as his dad transformed into Ty Pennington on a caffeine bender. "Do you want me to watch and learn?" Bart asked Luigi. Homer's reply? "No, that creeps me out." Fair. But Homer's obsession spiraled faster than a Beyblade in a tornado. He pulled all-nighters, glued his hand to the ceiling twice, and quoted Oscar Wilde, a man Homer vaguely thinks invented hot dogs. "Experience is just the name we give our mistakes," Homer declared, right before passing out and crushing their model into a pile of splinters. Bart's solution? Smash the real Westminster Abbey. A plus logic. 0 permits. The judges arrived. Superintendent Chalmers took one look at Bart's entry, a mangled mess that screamed, "I have daddy issues," and declared, "This repels my eye enough to be student made." Bart won. Homer wept. The crowd clapped like they'd just witnessed a hostage negotiation. Lesson learned? Dads ruin everything, even failure. Marge's breaking point, or when Mom Juice met Bart's chaos. Marge Simpson is the human equivalent of a glue stick, holding everything together until someone, Bart, licks her into a meltdown. This is the saga of how one prank too many turned Springfield's most patient mom into a lucid dreaming, scrapbook burning, rehab enrolling tornado with a side of "I'm fine, really denial." Spoiler, it's not fine. None of this is fine. It started with nightmares. Not the usual Homer forgot pants face, but full-blown horror flicks where Bart's childhood slipped away like a greased-up Flanders. "I've lost my little boy," Marge wailed, waking up in a cold sweat and immediately organizing Lisa's sock drawer. But reality hit harder than a sideshow Bob Rick gag. Bart glued clown masks to every teacher's face, turning Springfield Elementary into Cirque du Suck. Marge's breaking point? A judge declaring boys will be boys while sentencing Bart to rehab. Cue Marge's guilt spiral. "I'm the worst mother," she sobbed while Homer tried to comfort her with, "At least he's not in jail yet." Bart's rehab stint? A joke. Picture group therapy with sideshow Mel and a prank amends list longer than Krusty's tax fraud record. But Bart's grand apology, a water balloon ambush at Bart Simpson Apology Day, left Marge soaked, humiliated, and muttering, "Why didn't I stop at 2 kids?" Lesson learned? Marge's sanity hangs by a thread thinner than Smithers' patience. If you laughed harder than Krusty at a tax audit, smash that like button, or Bart'll glue your mouse to it. Comment below. Which Bart meltdown made you scream? Why Lord? Was it the island slime buffet? The muffin-fueled midlife crisis? Or the time Homer turned parenting into a contact sport? Asking for a friend named Milhouse. Subscribe so you never miss the next Springfield dumpster fire. Ring that notification bell faster than Sideshow Bob steps on brakes. Thank you. Come again. And remember, if video not meeting expectations, please return within 30 days for full refund.